Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is Daniel A. Alston. Okay, we're going to get into the characters out there, the main 8 characters to my children's series, Reggie the Redbird and the Talking Subway Car series. Alright, and I want to get in depth with, 8 of the characters. There's going to be more characters, that's going to be coming along. Eventually, as time and money persists, I'm going to be putting this on TV, on a network with, network with people to make sure this happens. I mean, be it we do this with PBS or Disney, Nickelodeon, whoever will, join me with this thing here. But there's a lot of potential. Once again, this is, he's hilarious, family friendly, family orientated. Also, to the introduction to our infrastructure, for kids to learn about our infrastructure and, how things could be better. Okay, first we're going to talk about, Reggie. This is the main character. Okay, he's a class R21. Okay, back in the days, back in like the late 50s, early 60s, they had all of these cars. Matter of fact, built from St. Louis Car and Foundry out there in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where they were built. So if anybody wanted to know, this is where it all started. So again, Reggie is the head guy. He's the head character, the main protagonist. He's based off of a guy, my aunt's very good friend, Reginald Holly. This guy right here, he softened the hardest of hearts. And, unfortunately, something happened, along the way. But, he's such a good guy that I had to make him into, a character that was a uniter. He got along with everybody. And Reggie is, the subway car that got along with everybody. Any type of different rail equipment and whatsoever. So, he's the head subway car. He served the number 4 line, when he was in service. Okay, of course, I added some kind of humor. That way you can get some idea, on, why I would think of such a crazy idea as a talking subway car. Yes, these things are possible. All right, and as you see, I built the model. I built the model of the subway car. Reggie, I'm going to program him to talk throughout the speaker at the bottom. Different electrical components. His nice switch, inside his box. Different signs. Where he goes. How the number 4 served. And, I pronounced the marker lights, his marker lights extend. I'm going to definitely add DCC to the situation here. And, we're going to add some, more power to him, different types of activity. Plus, liven that antenna so that way he can talk, and ask questions. Another one, another class R21 is Alfie the Agreeable. Alfie's based off of my brother, Alfie Tremaine Lucas. Some would know him as the Big LTA. But Alfie, he's a very hilarious character. If you ever seen a subway car with glasses, yeah, subway car with glasses, I would usually have a newspaper, for him to, read things. But yeah, he's the character out there with the newspaper on the side. He's not inquisitive, but he offers, his opinion to the humans out there that he serves. He served on the number 4 and the 5 line. Again, this is class R21, and now he's rebuilt into an R21A. And so I have him up in the closet. I'm going to bring him out in a minute. Show y'all what I got going here. Um, this right here is James. He's an R22. Rebuilt into an R22A. He's painted into the old silver and blue stripe library. Okay, he's a rather stylish type subway car. He gets along with a lot, and he's very confrontational when times is needed to some of the BMT cars and different other railroad equipment that's rather aggressive. And his cousin, who is Mike out there, he's a blue painted R22 subway car, and he's the laid back version. He doesn't really let things get to him. Hector speaks for the the Spanish Latin community, and he's one of a kind. Most of his service life was served on the 6th line. He's a wonderful type subway car, and I'm learning a bit of Latin, just for him. Again, Reggie the Redbird is going to be a diverse type deal. He's going to be an issue, of diversity and how these railroad cars can get along with one another and other types of railroad equipment. Murray's the one with the funny voice, he's just, well, not he, but I. They say I got the funniest voice because I got this high-pitched deal, and, my home is the 3 line, so be on the lookout for me. Yeah, he's the one with the funny voice. He's patterned off of, some individuals I knew, that stood out. He was the life of the party. He's the last batch of the R17 rebuilt into an R22. And I took away his cylinder windows from the storm door. But he's another standout. You're going to see a lot about him. He's going to be a big character in the series here. Then you got Greg, okay? For those who's been around for a while, back in the 60s and 70s and the 80s, where you remember when these Southern Line was painted in, this turquoise, type color and a white stripe, for the World's Fair series. And, of course, I got Greg, I hand painted him myself, so Greg is based off of a guy I used to work with, and he's a wonderful character. He's very sovereign. He gets along with everybody. Different subway cars whatsoever, and he's a good friend of Reggie. Even though the 7 and the 4, was somewhat of incompatible type deal because of the strength of the 7 train for the Mets and the 4 train for the Yankees. So that was another issue, But Greg, who was originally from Queens, that's what I based that subway car off of. Jamel is the main subway car. He don't like nobody. He's not an enemy, to Reggie, but he is, 100% confrontational with everything else out there that does not look like him. He's very challenging. He's very aggressive. He's bitter, at times. And he got this thing where he's Brooklyn. I mean, he got that, he's got that mentality. He's Brooklyn all day. And, he doesn't want to travel all the way to Queens and, service any other line. So for his punishment, I got his roll sign flipped to number 1. Unfortunately, sadly, Jamel, Mike, James, and Hector, due to certain situations, something happened to them. I'm going to replace them, and rebuild them. And I really don't want to get into it, but definitely, they will be replaced. But yes, if you got children, this is what it's for. This is for a cause. There was a tragedy that happened, some time ago, and in order to console myself and for my thing in my household, education is a big deal. I've always been fascinated with trains. So, as I model HO scale, I wanted to, do some things with scaled down versions. I said, why not turn this into a children's series and something that could come out of it. Like I said, I'm going to be working, looking to work with different factions, to make sure this thing gets off of the table, and eventually reaches the TV, hits book stands, and everything. It's going to be different stories. So I said it's going to be a series. It's not just going to be some old, just a movie, a hit and miss movie or a hit and run type movie. No, I want this thing to be ongoing. I painted this mural right here myself, so that way people would know. But yes, definitely Reggie the Redbird and the Talking Subway Car series. They were built. These subway cars was modeled by, Lifelike of Waters, Proto 1000, and these are the less expensive models, because the model of the New York subway is quite expensive, because we have such a diverse variety of different trains here. Again, be on the lookout for, different other scenes, different city scenes, other types of characters out there, some commuter trains. Once again, these trains right here, with a human type personality. Even the Amtrak, LTA PC, that's my fictional national passenger system, different freight railroad companies, and, just anything added to the fray out there to give people the basic idea of travel here in America, how we get around, especially here in a metropolis like New York City. Also, I'm going to be looking at other places as well. So, I don't discriminate, from different cities. Like, I want to do something with Boston, and eventually something with Chicago, and so forth. Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Los Angeles, however we could persist, ultimately, to the international railroad games out into Vancouver, British Columbia. So definitely, please look out for Reggie the Redbird. You're going to see more posts as it comes out. All right? And I will see you soon. This is Daniel A. Alston for Reggie the Redbird and the Talking Subway Car Series.